We're going to be making meatballs today. Meatballs with a really lovely tasting sort of tomato sauce, and we're going to serve it up with spaghetti, so it's spaghetti meatballs. I'm just going to run you through some of the ingredients. I've got some really lean beef steak mince, but any sort of beef mince is good. Try and get a lean one. I've got pork sausages, 4 of those, and I've actually taken the skins off of there. Then I've got some breadcrumbs, good handful, small bowl full of breadcrumbs. A little bit of parmesan, we've got an egg, half an onion, a couple of cloves of garlic, and then we've got some parsley. So all that's going to make up the mixture for the meatballs. Now once we've done that, we're going to make a nice tomato sauce. Now for that, again, we're going to sort of chop up some onions, a couple of garlics. We've got some chorizo there, some Spanish sausage, and what we're going to do is get those flavours out there. You get sort of paprika and a bit of garlic flavour, really nice sausage adding to the flavour. And then finally we've got a couple of cans of tomatoes and a little bit of tomato puree. First thing we're going to do is actually make the meatballs. Now to start with, I've got some beef mince there. It's actually beef steak mince. I've got about 500 grams, so about half a kilo, about 1.1 pound. I've also got some pork sausages, so try and get good quality pork sausages, take the skins off them and then break them up and pop them into the mixture there. Half an onion, which I've chopped that fairly fine really. 2 sort of smallish cloves of garlic, again finely chopped. Then we're going to use a good sort of handful of chopped up fresh parsley. 1 beaten egg, big handful of breadcrumbs. Then I'd say a smallish handful of Parmesan cheese. The final 2 ingredients, just want to add some ground black pepper and give it a good bit of seasoning with salt. Now we're going to start mixing this up. I mean, just get your hands in there really and squelch it all together until you get all those flavours mixed up. Try and squeeze it as you're doing it. So I'll just carry on doing this for probably a couple of minutes to get it all nicely mixed up. So I've been mixing this for about 2 minutes and we've got it into a nice workable paste. So what we're now going to do is to make them into little balls, the meatballs. So I'm just going to pick a piece up and roll it around in my hand. And what you're trying to do is to get it to about the size of a golf ball, I would say, something like that. So I'm just going to carry on doing that for all of those really, and lay them onto this baking tray which has got some grease-proof paper. If it helps to gauge the size, I mean, you can use something like a dessert spoon and again just roll it round in your hand, and that way you might get them all a similar sort of size. So I finished all the mixture. I actually made about 21 in the end, but if you aim between 20 and 24 then they'll probably be about the right size. What I'm going to do next is to drizzle some olive oil on all of them really. So I'm just going to do that for all of them, and then what we might do is just very gently roll them round so that we've got olive oil everywhere really. I've got the olive oil in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just flip them over just to try and get a little bit everywhere on each one of them, so we've got a little bit of olive oil on them all. I'm just going to drizzle a little tiny bit more olive oil on them just to make sure they don't stick, and I think it gives it a nice flavour and it helps them to sort of get a bit browner. So now we've got the meatballs all made up with olive oil all round them. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put them into the fridge and cool them down for about half an hour, so that then I can take them out, put them into a preheated oven, and then we just cook them for about half an hour. I think by putting them in the fridge or even the freezer for half an hour, it just sort of cools them down and helps to stop them breaking up when they're in the oven. So now I've got the meatballs in the fridge, I'm going to get on with cooking the sauce. So I'm just going to use a little bit of olive oil there, let that heat up, and then what we're going to do is pop in the onion. Now I'm using half an onion and I've kind of finely chopped it, so we get a quick stir up. And also I'm going to use a couple of cloves of garlic, but I'm just going to throw them in whole. Now with the garlic, if it starts to get a bit brown, then you can always take them out and put them back in again later. Don't let the sort of onions and that burn, we just want to sort of soften them down really. So mix that around. Now the next thing I'm going to go in is some chorizo. It's about sort of 3 or 4 inches in length of this sausage. Now I'm just going to leave that and try and get it a bit sort of, not quite brown, but want to release all those sort of flavours out of the sausage into the oil. So just cook that for a minute and then we'll give it a quick swash around. And just cooked it for a minute. You see that sort of colour in the oil. That's coming out the chorizo, that's like the paprika. And we are going to blend this sauce at the end to make a nice sort of, you know, nice fine sauce. So I'll just carry on cooking this. So we've been cooking for about 4 minutes at this stage. And now what we're going to do is to add in 2 cans of chopped tomatoes. Once it's sort of boiled for a minute or two, then what we can do is just turn the heat down a little bit, because we really, you know, want to cook this. I'd say you want to cook it for at least half an hour. I mean, the longer the better really, an hour or even longer, you know, but we'll see how it goes. Just want it to sort of thicken up a little bit, and then we're going to add a little bit of seasoning to it. Just going to put a little bit of salt in there. I mean, we'll taste it later on to see if it needs anything else, but it might need just a little bit of sugar. We'll have a look later on. So a bit of salt and pepper seasoning, good splodge, tomato puree, and we're just going to mix this in. This helps to kind of richen it up. So it's all been seasoned, got the tomato puree in there, so we're going to leave that simmering away for about half an hour, maybe even an hour. Now during that time I'm actually going to take the meatballs out of the fridge, put them in the oven, and what I've done is I've put them into a preheated oven around about 200 degrees Celsius, which is about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and what we're going to do is cook it for about half an hour. I finished cooking the meatballs. I've had them in there for about half an hour. Got a really nice colour on those, the smells are great. Now I haven't touched my meatballs, I left them the whole time sitting there, I didn't move them. Now I'm going to pull those out, and what we're going to do is leave them to cool down, and that also helps them to tenderise. So I'm going to pull those out and just leave them aside. So we're just going to recap. We've actually cooked the meatballs for about half an hour in the oven, and we'll let them cool down to sort of tenderise. Now the sauce here, we've actually been cooking for the best part of an hour, so it's really nice and thick. Now what I'm going to do with the sauce, I'm going to put it into a different pan, a smaller one, and we're going to blend it up to make a really nice smooth paste. Put it back in the frying pan, and then we're going to pop those meatballs in just to warm them up, and then we're going to serve it along with the pasta, which we're going to cook next. I'm just going to try it because it's a good time to actually try it before you put the meatballs in there. Now it depends on your personal taste, but I'm definitely going to add a little bit of sugar to this just to make it a little bit sweeter. And what I'm going to add is 1 sort of dessert spoonful of sugar. It looks a lot, but it's not really, because you've got 2 cans of tomatoes, and you know, you want to offset that little bit of bitterness. Keep it on a simmer, and what we're going to do is just add the meatballs into there. Now I'm just going to turn these around very quickly. Just try and get the sauce on there and simmer those away for about 10 minutes. So I'll carry on doing all of these, just turn them all around. I'll just leave those for about 10 minutes on the simmer. Now whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to get on with the spaghetti. I've got a hot pan there, so I've poured boiling hot water from the kettle straight into a hot pan. Keep it on high, add a little bit of salt. So now it's boiling, I'm going to pour in the spaghettis. What I would suggest is when you're cooking things like spaghetti or pasta, cook it for the time they actually recommend on the packet, because it's usually fairly accurate. So we're going to squash those down and mix them up. I usually use a big spoon, just helps a little bit, stops you burning yourself. And ideally you want to put a lid on there. So remember, give it the occasional stir and get it all nicely mixed up so all the pasta's cooking. I finished cooking the spaghettis, and I think it's really nicely cooked now, it's just right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain it out to get all that water away, put it in my colander, and then we're going to serve it up on a plate and put those lovely meatballs with that lovely sauce on top. I'm going to add some spaghettis on there. I'm just going to add the meatballs on top with that sauce. Whoops, a couple of more there. On top of that I'm just going to add a little bit of, I've got some fresh basil there, so add a little bit of that if you like, and then just dress it up with a little bit of parmesan. Now I'm just going to try a little bit of that. So let's cut one of those meatballs up, have a look. Looks nice. Really nice flavour. I love it. You can taste the parmesan. That's delicious actually. Really nice for that sauce. I really hope you enjoy it.